Chaim Regev is the ambassador of Israel to the European Union and NATO in Brussels, and he's now joining me here at the European Parliament in Strasbourg. Mr. Ambassador, the Parliament has debated the situation in Israel and Gaza. Of course, the Hamas terror is rejected by all deputies, but the Parliament is also saying Israel should do a little bit more to protect civilians in Gaza. What do you say?
What I'm saying is, first of all, we need to look how it started. Hamas provoked a war. The atrocities that they conduct cannot be forgotten and there cannot be any excuse for that. Israel is acting according to international humanitarian law. this war is not against the Palestinian people, it's not against civilians, it's not against men, women that are not involved. It's only against Hamas activities and terrorists. So we'll do all in our power to avoid harming uninvolved people and civilians.
Nevertheless, the European Union says there is already a humanitarian crisis in Gaza because the 2 million people are deprived of water, food and so on, and the EU will now send, if it's possible, humanitarian aid to Gaza Strip. So what can Israel do to avoid that?
I'm not aware of any humanitarian crisis. We are monitoring the situation. There is no humanitarian crisis. The movements of people is because we do not want to harm any uninvolved civilian. This is why Israel, our army and defense establishment call the population to move from areas that there might be harms. So again, the purpose of this warning that we will not harm any of people that are not involved. Unfortunately, the Hamas use those people as a human shields. They do not care for the population, like the incident that we saw yesterday at the hospital, where Hamas fired a rocket that or Islamic Jihad hit the hospital. They fire it from a popular area where civilians are living, and they hit their own hospital, and they caused the deaths of hundreds of people. This is the way that they act, and they don't care. For them, yesterday was a successful day, because they succeed to sell the story that Israel is harming people and put pressure on Israel. But we have a full evidence that it was done by Hamas and Islamic Jihad.
Well, Hamas is saying that Israel attacked the hospital. In the European Union, for example, the head of the Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, also said the facts have to be established. Of course, you're the ambassador of Israel, you tell your story, Hamas tells the other story, so what shall the public do?
There is only one story, facts. And we have a clear record of Hamas terrorist activists, and we have a clear footage, video of this rocket. So there is no question mark about it. There is no doubt about it. And it's about time. I'm not criticizing EU. I'm just saying that I think that it's about time to listen. I'm calling Europe and everybody watching us. It's about time to believe and to trust Israel official statement and not terror organization statement. But we have the proof. There is no question mark on that.
The EU says also that Israel, of course, has the right to self-defense and that the ground offensive will come in the next days, maybe. Are you not afraid that there will be more pictures of maybe killed civilians in Gaza that then will temper the image and the cause of Israel around the world?
We are not now looking into image. We are looking into what's happened and how to solve the problem. And as long as Hamas is there, the problem will stay forever. We are fighting the war of Israel first and foremost, but this is also the fight for the Palestinian. Because as long as Hamas is there, they will not have any future. So I'm not going into the operational detail of what we plan and what we are not planning, but Europe and the world need to understand what is this fight about. And I want to tell you another thing is that we appreciate very, very much the support that we see from the EU. We appreciate very much that the first time maybe in our history that the first leader who came to show solidarity was the President of the Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, and President of the Parliament. This is something that never happened before, and it shows how much the EU today have a strong leadership that show support and solidarity without any nuance.
You talked to a lot of parliamentarians here in Strasbourg. You even went to some of the groups and showed the pictures of the people that were slaughtered by Hamas in Israel. What was your reaction? Do you think the support might crumble if the operation drags on for very long?
We call on immediate release of those hostages. Among those hostages, more than 200 people, most of them are civilian, babies, women, old, Holocaust survival, all in all. The Hamas, this brutal terror organization, ISIS type, did not spare the life of anybody. So we are calling for immediate release, immediate release. Some of them, among them, are European citizens, many of them. So we want to show the face of those people, and this is what we are doing. There is a strong support and sympathy here to this because we all agree this should not happen. It should not happen. Civilians should not be part of any kind of this conflict.
Mr. Ambassador, can you give us a sense of the end game, the aim Israel wants to achieve after Hamas has been defeated and is gone in Gaza Strip? What will happen then? And what role could the EU play in that situation?
Let me start with the opposite. If Hamas will stay in any scenario, and they are not going to stay, Gaza will never be recovered from that. As long as Hamas is there, Gaza will never recover. This is why I am saying that we're fighting also for the Palestinians themselves. The end game is to eliminate Hamas. Its infrastructure, the people who conduct this terror attack, its leadership. We don't have any intention to stay there. By the way, almost 20 years, we're not in Gaza. This is a misconception about, siege or controlling Gaza. Gaza is controlled by Hamas for more than 20 years. So we don't have any intention to go back to Gaza. The only intention that we have right now, and plan, and desire, and we will do it, is to wipe Hamas, eliminate their capability, the people who conduct these murders, and their leadership. That Hamas will not have, after this war, any capability to come back and control Gaza.
For many decades, also the European Union has paid aid to the Palestinian Authority and also via NGOs and the United Nations to Gaza Strip. Should that continue after the operation? For years, we calling the European Union and other international players to support the Palestinian Authority and to support the Palestinian people. We are not against the Palestinian. We are not against the Palestinian Authority. In the past years, we encourage the EU and other players to support the Palestinian economically. And in the last year, we saw that the EU was the biggest donor. Of course, we do not have a problem with that. Right now, the EU is reviewing, and I think it's good to look into where this money goes and not goes. But basically, we are supporting any assistance for the economic assistance for the Palestinians. Thank you very much for your time, sir.